Good morning, everybody. How's it going? Woo.
Morning.
Good morning. All right, we have some people still joining in here. We have a awesome webinar we are doing. This is actually originally we created for our maintenance summit. So we're excited to go through this today. JC, Jessica Trell, she's going to go ahead and launch or kick this off. We're currently looking at her screen right now, and then I'll have some extra slides at the end that I'll go through. I'm going to also record this, so anybody who isn't on this today, we can share this, but of course this information can be used for future too. So I'm going to go ahead and give control over to JC here. And JC, you should be all set. I can see your screen, so you are all good to go. I just can't hear you. So you might want to unmute yourself here.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
Got to remove your face, JE. Sorry.
Morning.
I'm going to take it out.
Thank you.
Hopefully, everyone's having a great Thursday. As JE mentioned, this presentation was set to be delivered during our maintenance summit, which was unfortunately postponed. You guys were still planning on doing that. So this presentation just will not be a part of it. But I know a few of you, or a handful, that have been with us for quite some time. You've seen some of these slides already, but we do feel, especially right now, it's important to run through how to read the budget, our Capex process, emergency process, and then, as JE mentioned, she's going to jump in at the end, and we're going to talk some COVID expense control measures just with everything that's going on right now. So I will go ahead and get started if I can figure out my controls. Oh, sorry, guys. It's a little delayed. So first, we're going to start with the budget, going over what the budget is, definitions, why it matters, and then how we are currently operating and how we can, of course, do better. Managers, I know you're fully aware of what budgets are. We've written them, we've gone through them, but some supervisors, especially our newer ones, some of this vocabulary may be new to you. It's stuff we frequently use, so we just want to run through this quickly. A budget, of course, is a detailed planning tool to ensure our communities are profitable. Main reason why we're here and doing what we do every day, we want to make money. So the budget is a formal plan laid out for the year, going over not only our income, expenses, Capex, everything like that. Rental income is the actual income we're bringing in from the apartment. So every resident pays rent, of course. That is what we consider our rental income, including concessions we give, any rent loss from our models, guest suites some properties have, everything like that. Other income, we're then looking at additional fees we're charging for pets. We do damages, of course, at move out or throughout the lease. Lock and key income. We've got garage rentals, storage rentals, anything like that where it's additional add-ons from the rent. That is what we consider that other income category. And truly everyone on site has their hands in this, from anything from balcony fines, broken blinds, catching those pets during both PMs and work orders. You maintenance team, you're really hands-on with that portion. So always be on the lookout for that, because that's adding to the income of the property. We then have controllable expenses, which you guys are pretty much 100% in control of. This is everything from repairs and maintenance, our turnover expenses, contract services. On the office side, we have marketing, we have administrative fees, office supplies, everything like that, plus our payroll and utilities. All of this you guys have a hand in, you can take control on, and we want you to be involved in this. And then net operating income, or as we always refer to it, NOI, this is going to be our total income minus expenses, and that's what we refer to as NOI. Does anyone have any questions about those definitions? Perfect. Keep going. And then the final one is net income. This is going to be our NOI minus our Capex expenses. If any of you have looked at your budget comparison, Capex is always at the bottom of everything. So our net income is once everything is spent at the property level, that is what we have. There is additional stuff more so at the asset level, but you guys don't need to worry about that aspect. So why do budgets matter? Again, we're a business. We're here to make money. If we're not making money, we're not running a successful business. So when you're looking at your budget, when you're looking at your monthly expenses, there's questions you guys can ask yourselves to do better, or maybe it's reevaluating how we're spending the money. But repairs and maintenance, are we doing preventative maintenance and planning that appropriately for the property? Are we completing those in the proper months? Again, I know we're in a different time right now, so we postponed the spring before the AC season starts, but typically we get those done by the end of March, right before ACs are turned on. Are we repairing versus replacing? Does it make sense at that end? Are we spending too much on repairs versus replacing the component, or vice versa? We want to look at that. Turnover, are we receiving competitive pricing from our vendors? Are we dictating the work? Are we walking in and telling our painters, you know, we only need these 5 walls painted, do not do a full paint? Same thing, carpet cleaning, walking in, getting the evaluation. Maybe we're trying to clean the carpets first, and then they come back and say, you know, we can't get the pet odor out, the stain, it's permanent in here. Then they're going to recommend a replacement. So you guys may not think you have control on that type of thing, but we do have full control on those turn expenses. Same with contracts. Are we getting the best rates? Are we getting the work that's in those contracts? Take a look at our landscape contracts, our boiler, chiller, preventative maintenance contracts, and make sure our vendors are providing us with everything that's detailed out in those. We're paying for the work, so we want to receive that work. Payroll, this is more so looking at controlling our overtime. I know maintenance supervisors, you probably hear it from your managers all the time when it comes to on calls or working longer hours, but we have control of that overtime. Are we efficiently scheduling throughout the day? Are we scheduling our site teams appropriately throughout the day? Temp services, are we using them too often? Same with vendors. Are we contracting stuff out that can be brought in-house? We need to look at those and start asking those questions. In regards to vacant utilities, this is a huge one you guys have control on, and what we're always looking at. We need to ensure our thermostats are set appropriately. We're not leaving lights on. Are we following the vendors once they're in the units? Especially right now, we have common areas that are completely closed down. Are we keeping lights off? Are we, you know, reducing the temperatures, not have the AC cranked at this time in the fitness centers? This is all stuff to think through on your day-to-day process. And then in regards to Capex, again, we go back to that repair versus replace comparison. Did we charge residents back appropriately? We have a carpet replacement. Did we charge them that pro rate? Make sure you're speaking with your community managers and you guys are working hand in hand on these. We love to hear new ideas on how to save money and how to do things more efficiently or better. So always have that line of communication open. Any questions right now regarding the categories, expense control, anything like that? Perfect. Well, right now, we really want to get some involvement from you guys. Jeff, myself, JE, Garish, we've all really been talking best practices and how we're doing our daily orders, our weekly orders on site. So we want to hear from you guys. How are we currently placing our orders and what does that frequency look like? Don't make me call people out.
And you might be muted. I see some people who have self-mute on. So if you're trying to talk, if you can unmute yourself. If you can't get your audio to work, there is a chat box as well. So feel free to put it in the chat box into the GoToMeeting. But we definitely are looking for your feedback.
So JC, this is Jeff. Back when I was doing my supervisor duties, I like to place orders weekly. It was just easier for me to place my orders weekly. I don't know about the other guys or their thoughts on that, but weekly was my method.
I know lately it's been kind of down to a stop with orders unless it's something we absolutely need. But on our regular routine, we would kind of keep a little list over on our board, and if it was something we needed, we'd prioritize it and kind of do a weekly thing as well, like what Jeff was saying.
Was that Justin? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see Ken does twice a month. Anyone else out there?
Here at Central Park, this is Josh, by the way. We're usually doing one large order at the beginning of the month and then just whatever we come across that we need on a weekly basis.
And then we've got a comment from Water Chase. Seth does inventory checks in the beginning of the month and then orders based off that turn schedule and what the inventory is.
This is Josh K. at Bradford. We do similar to Central, where we place one decent sized order in the beginning of the month. And then, I mean, if there's any small stuff that we need throughout the rest of the month, we kind of add it on as we go, but obviously staying within budget.
Okay. So with those monthly orders, how are you guys placing that? Are you looking at stock? Is it based on turns? What truly are you looking at? And this goes back into inventory control, which was the second question. But how are you setting those standards, or what are you looking at for those orders?
I normally try over here at VBR. We try to, like when we're doing the walks, when me and Chantel, the assistant, are doing the walks, I mean, I'll take account of the blinds that we're going to need. I try to guesstimate how much paint we're going to need before we place our big order at the beginning of the month.
And then Reflection Cove and Kenyon Square, they do it based of similar to Water Chase, what's in stock and what are the upcoming for the month. Not sure if you got some feedback.
Perfect. Jeff, any other questions regarding ordering or inventory control?
No, I like what Trista said. You know, that pre-inspection walk, we do the pre-inspection walk, and as we're doing that walk, we can get a blind count, we can get a drip pan count. That can help when we do that large order. So I definitely think that pre-inspection is going to be key. I do like the large order at the beginning of the month, and then that weekly, you know, depending on what work orders are coming in, what work orders are coming out, controlling that inventory that way. So we do that large order in the month in the beginning. But that weekly as well with the work orders, that can help us, you know, satisfy our customers and control the inventory.
Perfect. Any other feedback on ordering or inventory control? Great. We'll move on. So
I think someone said something about a pre-inspection.
What was that?
I think someone was about to speak on the pre-inspection.
No, never mind.
Perfect. Well, again, this is going to be more geared towards our maintenance supervisors that haven't been through budget writing yet. But we just wanted to show you our budget template. It's different than what you're looking at in Yardi. So if you do not have a copy of your actual budget, please let either myself, Jeff, your manager, your RPM, whoever know. We can get this to you easily, but truly this is a great tool to be looking at all the time. It gives you the breakdown of your monthly expenses, detailed notes of what that entails, since a lot of you did not write this. Some managers may not have even written the budget. So this is a great tool to use, and we just wanted to run through how to read this template. Pretty basic, but if you guys, I'm going to end up sending this in the end. I know screen-wise this may be a little difficult to read, but we'll send this out to you at the end of the call. But basics, at the top of the template for R&M, you're going to have what our budgeted occupancy is that we're aiming for, which then accounts to how many actual occupied homes we have for that month, total move-outs, and then total move-ins. And then within R&M, you can see here, this is just a sample budget. It's Bradford's, but if you look at appliance repairs, this top gray bar is going to be your total monthly budget. And then in the blue cells, they actually broke down what they were planning to purchase for that month. So they have a $50 monthly budget for range elements, quarterly $100 stove control boards, and then miscellaneous parts, whether that's washer dryers, dishwashers, microwaves, whatever that entails. They also have a $50 budget at that end too. And again, this is what Gabby and Josh set up last year for the property, but you may not have written this, so this is a great piece to look at. In case you're wondering, like all of a sudden one month you have a $100 budget, the next month you may have a $1,000 budget. Well, you don't know what the thought process was behind that. Pull up that budget template and then look at the details that are broken out in here. You can see building exterior, March, we had 2,000 for pet stations. We have gutter cleaning assumed in May. So that's going to account for those large variances month to month within your budget. Any questions regarding R&M template? Has anyone not seen this before? Okay, we'll move on. Turnovers. This is another great resource to look at, especially when you're doing those pre-inspections. Again, we always estimate when we're writing the budgets based on what our goal occupancy is, what our goal retention is for the month. So at this top section, it's going to show you the projected turns we have budgeted, and that includes renovations as well if your property is undergoing renovations. So always be aware of how many units you have in budget for the month. So if we're looking at April, Bradford has 11 assumed. And then take a look at what we're actually experiencing. It may be higher. How do we then control that? I mean, at this point, we have 75% carpet cleans, 25% replacements assumed, and that's based off 11 move-outs. If we're going over the turns, we're of course going to be over budget in certain areas. So again, we need to look at what we have written for the budget, where we can save paints. Can we do less full paints? Can we do more touch-ups? Can we do anything in-house? Maybe we have a carpet cleaner machine. I know Streets has one. Maybe we can do some carpet cleaning in-house. So start thinking of that and know what these numbers look like within your budget. Any questions regarding the turn template? Great. Next one that we wanted to highlight is Capex. Again, at the top, you're going to see the projected renovations we have, projected turns for the month. And this is really where you want to dig in and know how many replacements we have, whether it's appliance replacements, carpet vinyl's always a big one on our end, especially that carpet. So again, know how many we have assumed for the month. So month of April, we have 3 carpets assumed for replacement. This doesn't mean we want to replace 3. It just means we've put a cushion in there that if we have 3, we have the budget. But if we have more, then we need to start looking at Capex, which will go into the Capex project process next. But again, just because we have this number in here, whether we have a refrigerator replacement, a stove replacement, that doesn't mean we use it. It's meant to be there as a cushion in case we need it, but we are not ordering stock of appliances. We're not just going through and going, okay, we have 5 carpets to replace, but we truly only need to do 2. Let's pick 3 more to do. That's not the thought process we want. We just want to replace what absolutely has to be replaced. Any questions on that end? I'll keep moving on. Our favorite topic, Capex. So we're going to go over the process, why we do it, why we have it in place, and how we can do better. So overview, this is our policy. So I'm hoping all of you are aware, but anything that is a $500 expense or over that is not in budget, we need to be submitting a Capex ticket to. So this, again, is anything if we have 2 carpets budgeted for replacement, but we end up needing 4 carpets replaced based on our pre-inspection, we should be submitting 2 Capex tickets for those 2 additional carpets. Same thing if something pops up, we have a repair, a concrete slab needs to be repaired. It's not in the budget, it's $800. We need to be submitting that Capex ticket before we approve any work to be done. And then any expense that's $2,500 or more, we need to be submitting 3 bids. So typically, we all have our our top contractor that we work with. They typically give us best rates, but once we hit that $2,500 threshold, we need to be getting 2 additional bids and submitting that through Capex. Why does this all matter and why do we harp on this? Again, it comes down to we're a business and we need to make money. We need to look at our budgets and everything like it's our personal bank account. If we don't have that money in that budget, you may it goes out, you don't have a savings account or you don't have that saved. Where are you getting that money for replacement? That's the thought process we want you guys to have when you're looking at your budgets, when Capex projects or emergencies pop up. Really think about it like it's not written in here, so where does this money come from? Submit it for Capex. Sarah will get back to you. We, of course, as everyone knows, have construction dollars allocated and everything like that, but ultimately, if it hits the property, we typically have to find where we're making up that money. Any questions on the Capex process? Anything you're bumping up against on Capex? Okay. So this template, last year we changed the way we submit our Capex requests. We used to have a spreadsheet. Now it's all through email submission. So really what I suggest you guys do is print this slide out when we send this to you, have this readily available so that when you're needing to submit a Capex request, you have this template quickly accessible. Some Capex tickets are great with detail, with pricing in the email body, and then some we're getting just an attachment. We have a whole system for Capex, but when we're receiving those initial emails, we're not seeing the attachment. We have to log into a whole other system. So including all of this information is vital for us to quickly reference. And then the other major point to discuss is for emergencies. So you have a hot water tank down for an entire building, you need a response immediately. Make sure in that subject line you are putting like urgent, emergency, something to grab everyone's attention so that it's not sitting out there for a day or two.
And then just to jump in, this is JE. Don't feel like you have to quickly write down what's on your screen right now. We will send out a copy of this right here on your screen, so that way you know what the email should look like.
Yep. So emergencies brings me to the great, everyone's fun on-site emergency issues. We know emergencies happen. We're not fighting that. It happens. It's everyday life. And we know we have to get contractors out on site sometimes without prior approval. When these do happen, we want incident reports submitted. So whether it's a leak in an apartment, washer machine came loose, it's flooding 2 other apartments, you're getting your emergency carpet extraction, you're calling a plumber, whoever it is. We know we're not going to have the bids or know how much that's going to cost to submit a Capex ticket at that point, but we want you guys to be submitting incident reports for this. The purpose of this is documentation and knowledge. What we're finding is we're having emergencies happen on site. No one's aware of it except the on-site team, and then all of a sudden we have an $800,000 invoice coming through Capex that is already, we owe it. Contractor came out, they made the repair. At least submitting this incident report, we all have knowledge that there's going to be an expenditure that we don't have assumed, and we can plan appropriately. So this can be anything from leaks, of course, fires, we want those documented, but anything, whether your fob system goes down for the entire building and you have to have an emergency call out, elevators go down and someone's stuck in it on a weekend. We know those emergency calls cost a lot of money. So just submit a quick incident report, and the policy is written right here. This is in your PPM manual as well. But Happy Co, we have the incident report in there. Submit pictures if necessary, and then just submit this to incidents at livetrilogy.com. We'll all be aware of it at least, and then once you receive that invoice, send it through Capex. Is there any questions surrounding this aspect? Because I do know this is new information we're putting in front of everyone of what we want to happen with emergencies now. Take silence as a no. I'm going to turn it over to JE now.
Thanks, JC. So we just went through all the Capex budget information, and I want to kind of touch a little bit on our budget and our expenses during these different times that we're experiencing. We're all kind of experiencing it in different levels on our communities. You guys are all doing a great job. So one thing we want to try to be conscious of is our expenses on site right now. I want to kind of talk a little bit about what our idea is or what we want to be looking at when it comes to our expenses. So as Trilogy, as a company, we want to maintain and operate our communities as best as we can right now. I know things are different. We're not giving tours in person. We're not completing all work orders as of right now. We're just doing our essential ones. So like I said, things are a little bit different. So with that, we want to make sure that we're conscious of our expenses on site, just because, again, it's not our normal day-to-day business as we're doing. So we're not doing all those work orders. We probably don't need all that supply. So I want to talk a little bit through some ideas of things that maybe we can cut back on or just postpone right now. So some things could be, maybe we've got budgeted tree trimming right now. Maybe it's not something we need to get done at the moment. There's also some projects I know some teams are doing in-house. Maybe we had it budgeted to get some common areas painted. I know some teams are doing some common area painting right now in lieu of not doing all the work orders. You know, just because we have something budgeted doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to be done right now. Some other things is our amenity spaces, as JC mentioned earlier in the presentation. We're not open in all of our communities, so we could probably make sure all those utilities are monitored. So lights are off, AC is reduced, or it's not, you know, blaring at 67. Maybe we could have it bumped up to 72. Same thing with our vacants, making sure that vacants lights are actually off and thermostats are checked. I know that pools came up on discussion a couple days ago with our community managers, and it's something that Mario's looking at all the communities. But I know some communities right now have pool supplies budgeted for the month of April, some in May. Looking at what pool supplies we probably need to get and we don't need to get. So being conscious of what we're ordering for the pool supplies, because we might not open those pools. Prospect refreshments, we're not getting those right now. We've limited our on-site resident events. We're not buying the food and things for those functions, but we're doing online events. So that's been reduced. Limiting our office supply. Maybe we're not printing as much because the residents aren't coming in to get paper. So just thinking about those expenses and being mindful of it. Any questions when it comes to our expense control? Or JC, any other comments on that?
No, I think you covered a lot. And just to add, I know this was probably communicated from your regionals a few weeks ago, but during these times, and I know we have a lot of construction projects planned out for the spring, you know, Capex improvements. We've really paused on this just given the uncertainty right now. Does not mean we're not going to do them. It's just we want to see how the next 2 to 3 months pan out regarding resident rent payments, what our delinquency looks like before we start spending additional dollars, because as everyone knows, we have mortgages to pay. We have investors to pay. So we have responsibilities we need to make, and we're being conscious of what we're spending, and we want you guys to do the same on site. Just because our delinquency may increase tremendously in the next month or so, just given the uncertain times and so many people out of work. So just because we paused on stuff, do not think we are completely cutting it. Same thing with these projects. It's more, what can we postpone at this time? What can we wait to open? The pools. We don't even know if we can open amenities next month. So maybe we push that a month and save on chemicals for that time frame. So just know we're not saying no right now. It's let's be conscious of what we're spending, what we can cut back on, and then once we get through, which we will get through this time, we will then reevaluate and start ramping up those projects again.
Awesome. Thanks, JC. All right. So to end this presentation, so we do want to send the community managers and the maintenance supervisors, all of you, a homework assignment. It's nothing that we need tomorrow or next week. We know you're busy. So what we're looking at is we want you guys to pull up those budgets and CapEx projects that you have and look at the months of April, May, and June, and then go through what projects are budgeted. What can we postpone? What things can we bring in-house? So again, that'll be due April 20th, and then we wanted to send to your regional and JC. I'll be following up here in the next minute, and I'll send you guys a spreadsheet that you can use as you go through your budget and kind of comb through what things that we can postpone at the moment or hit the pause button on, or what things we can bring in-house. Any questions on any of this?
I'm here.
Thanks, Justin. I do want to say you guys are all doing an amazing job. So keep up the great work. We know this is different how we're operating right now, and really truly we are trying to put your safety first in everything we're doing. So this is why we want to be conscious of how we're operating, or what things or what processes we're doing. So again, we appreciate, as we're kind of going through all of these motions and things are shifting and adjusting, we appreciate you guys kind of adjusting with us. So thank you. If nobody has anything else, I appreciate you guys joining. And I'm going to send that email with the homework assignment, and then JC will send a couple things in regards to your budget and then what to put on that Capex email. But again, thanks for joining today, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your Friday Eve. Maintenance supervisors, there is another training that is in 25 minutes, and it's a different go-to link. So you'll want to get off this one and get on the new one, which is in your Outlook. So again, thanks again. You guys have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Great job, JC.
Bye.